I was asked by a friend of mine to give an example of someone that I would support politically, or he was curious as because it all stemmed from my post that I made on Facebook about how my softball pushback against Trump over the years, which I'm not one of these people that's every day like roar, 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 typing out his anger toward look what he did this week. Not my game, but I do think the guy's a clown. I said, like I do most politicians, but that's enough to get some people to just like shrivel up and have to block me. It's happened. Family members of mine have blocked me because I don't share their delusion of Trump's greatness for the country or whatever they think he's doing. But anyway, the way I do think about politics, it's not a binary choice to me. Now, an election, some people will try to sell it. You're either with the Democrats or you're with the Republicans. I'll give you an example of why that's not true where I live. I live in Alabama. I will bet you today that the president, that whoever is going to be running for the GOP in 2028 is going to win Alabama. I would be willing to give you 10-1 odds, however much you want to put on it. Same thing with California or New York. There are certain states that in today's political climate, it's a guarantee that they're going to go one way or the other. Now, that doesn't mean that I would be able to put the same bet on, an election that's going to happen 30, 40 years from now, because, the Overton window shifts over time, and Alabama used to be, the Democrat Party used to dominate down here, the Dixiecrats or whatever. But it's been a while since Alabama went for, you fact check me on this. I think they might have voted for Carter in '76. I don't know for sure, but I think it's been a while since a Democrat has taken for president anyway, Alabama. So going back to the binary thing, you're either going to vote for Democrat or Republican. Well, Jill Stein, I think, was still on the ballot in 2024 for the Green Party, and Chase Oliver for the Libertarian Party, and I voted for Chase Oliver. Now, I could have just as easily not voted, which I know some people have a big problem with that. Oh, you can't complain if you don't vote. It's like, it's just one of these things that people say that don't make sense to me. Of course you can complain if you don't vote. If somebody, voting isn't like this magic thing to me. I'm sorry. It definitely is a right. I'm glad I have it, this and that, but I don't look at it like some people do, like this magical thing. And maybe that's because I'm spoiled living in the US, but I'm being honest, right? So the way I looked at it is my vote, I already know the outcome, but my vote still counts. They count. You could look at that. Chase Oliver got 0.02% of whatever it was. I think it's probably pretty close to that. Not very much. I did not vote for Chase Oliver in the hopes that somehow he was going to pull one out, that it's going to be the biggest upset ever. That's not why I voted. The reason that I voted for him is because I don't find either of the other candidates acceptable. But those people that want to vote either Democrat or Republican, they want you to tell them what they want to hear, like so bad. Some people. I tried to go on to a live forum it was a TikTok live, where they were talking about politics, and then one of them brought up the fact that this was a Trump supporter guy. He brought up the fact that Trump won the popular vote this time, And these guys, that the room was almost all lefty people, right? And this is after the election, obviously, and they were all like shooting missiles at this guy, saying, "No, he didn't win the popular vote." And they were using some other metric. I think what they were confused about was Trump didn't win more than 50% of the, so he didn't win a majority. He won what you would call a plurality. But that still means he won the popular vote, because he got the, let's count the votes. Who got the most? That's the popular vote. Whether it was Clinton, he didn't even get close to it. I think he won in 92 with 42% of the vote, because Ross Perot kind of skewed that, right? But so I got on the camera. I tried, I did a request, put me up on the screen if you've ever done these things. And I wanted to just go in and tell them, actually, Trump won the popular vote. So I come up, and the first thing they want to know is who you voted for. And I said, well, I voted for Chase Oliver, but I just wanted to let you know that, you stupid, what you and they start just chastising me, right? And I told them, look, I just came up here to say, you could look it up. It's pretty easy. Just Google who won the popular vote in 2024. Oh yeah. And then they did the whole, Google says it must be true. Somebody said that. And they would never let me, they would mute me. And then they started this one, young guy, he must have been early 20s, something there, telling me how stupid I was and this and that. And this would be reason for some people to say, see, you should join our team, because they're not even going to listen to you. It's happened the other way as well. Like, don't get in a freaking group of a bunch of Trumpers and try to make a point that makes their guy look like he might not be the all-knowing that they think he is. I just look for what's true or what's not true. And in that case, that specific case, Trump won the popular vote. And my theory about why they were so hesitant to admit that is because the word popular, they didn't want to make it seem like Trump was popular. That's just a theory that I have. But not believing the truth doesn't make it any less true if it is true. If that makes sense, I hope it did, because it does to me. I always look for that stuff. Look at what the truth is. And you don't have to go, okay, let's see what the Democrats say and what the Republicans, whoever says the most true things is the winner. It doesn't work like that for me either. It's just this specific topic. I just want to know, is this true or not? That's it. I don't like the tribal politics. I don't think you can't reach out across the aisle and try to come to consensus. You can have principles, but you also have to be pragmatic sometimes. And this environment is not ripe for pragmatism, I'm afraid to say, but it should be. I'm a libertarian, but that doesn't mean I want to do away with all of government. I'm not an anarchist. Here's how I like to explain things. Like private property to me, I don't like federal lands. I don't like the government owning things like companies, like this whole steel deal that Trump did. I think there's quite a few little companies that the United States owns stake in them now. Well, that stifles like competition. If something comes up in a free market, if there is a free market, and there's not a free market, there's regulation, there's all that. Not to say that we can't have these things, but the farther we drift away from free markets, the less a lot of what I believe happens is stifled. And that is, innovation, prices, this. If you have competition in a free market and 20 companies are trying to, bid for your freaking they want you to be a customer of their business. They're incentivized. They have to either produce a better product, make it cheaper, make you want to buy them over other competition. And when the United States starts owning parts of companies, the lawmakers are gonna skew toward that company. And it might not be the best deal. This other company might have, won more if it wasn't for the government dipping their freaking paws where it doesn't belong. And that's another thing what tariffs are. Think about this. China, right? Chinese EVs are selling, and I think they're going to start selling in Canada. And they are cheap. There are some cheap EVs. And there's no way that they're going to be allowed. They're not going to be sold in the United States because there's I think Biden put a 100% tariff on them. So you're basically paying double for a freaking car that it's not going to be able to work. Whether or not China is somebody you want to deal with, that's a totally different thing. Just think of how that is limiting consumers' choices. Because if you had a choice to buy an EV that costs, let's say, $20,000, I think there are some that they sell that are like that cheap. You might say it's a good idea to put that tariff on because it's going to destroy the U.S. auto industry. But another way to look at it is consumers are going to be given a choice that they don't have. So who are you really damaging? You're damaging if you allow them in. Let's just say we don't give tariffs on these vehicles. You allow them to be sold in the U.S. and they become really popular and a lot of people buy them. Forget that they're EVs, because I know people get freaking religious about that shit too, which is just ridiculous to me. But let's just say it's a gas-powered car and it's $15,000. Or you got to buy, a U.S. product that was made here and it's $30,000. Who do you think is going to win at the end of the day? Some people are going to buy a $30,000 vehicle for sure. But if that puts these other manufacturers out of business, the only people that lose in that situation are the workers for that company. But the people that are losing because they're not given the choice far outnumber. Whether you think that's a good trade-off or not, that's a totally different thing. But you have to at least look at it in those terms. You have to look at what are the trade-offs that we have to make. And I mean, some people just, if it's China, oh, it's crap. Really? If it's a national security concern, okay, if that's your deal, but I don't think people realize some products are made in China and sold under a different brand from maybe Europe or whatever. It's not as if they can only make junk. There's definitely products that are made in China that are okay. And I'm not singing the praises of China, but they're not exactly free marketers either. They have the Chinese Communist Party, but they're not really communists. They don't behave like communists anymore. I'm not a fan of China, but I think some people have opinions on China that are just a little off. But I'm definitely I'm definitely digressing now. Don't take that as me being pro-China. Definitely not pro-authoritarian governments. That's another reason why I don't like Trump, because he definitely has authoritarian tendencies. I think he would rather make decisions on his own so he gets credit. That's why he doesn't like getting approval from Congress. That could be to his detriment, but he would rather take all the credit for it. But he will definitely not want to take all the blame for things. But I think I've gone long enough. I don't know if that answered anybody's question, but it gave me an opportunity to ramble. So I'll say goodbye for now.